Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Yeah.
I hate
It's a
so
big
much.
episode. I want to put a little bass behind you,
No,
pal.
it makes me feel like crap when you do the echo thing.
Big day for us.
Yeah, it is a big day, Matt. There's a lot going on in the NBA. We got two fun new guests. I'm the host, Freddie Rivas.
Yeah.
Who are you, person who interrupts me every intro?
Sorry, I'm really cutting you down. I'm the producer, Matt Duncan.
Yeah, and where can people find us, sir?
Dunkspodcast.com. Let's start there. We got all kinds of links on there: Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, which is something you use, Grandpa.
Hey, Player FM, it's like a little algorithm for my podcast.
It's like
Grandpa.
a digital Grandpa's radio.
Well,
No one uses that. Come on.
well, you can go straight to hell. How about that? No, if you're tuning into the podcast for the first time or the what podcast we on 95th time, thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it.
Yeah,
all the
we're almost at
feedback, all the
100.
support. Almost at 100. We're going to do a
Don't know what we're going to do yet.
big live thing, maybe,
Sure.
or maybe it would just be
Halftime show.
It could be like a disaster of a live show.
Yeah.
It'll be good. But yeah, let's get to the guests.
Sure.
I feel like I know them both through online Raptors fandom, which is a pretty good start. But I'll bring on Sheldon first. He's from Sportsnet. He's working for Tim and Sid. He's got a podcast called Ball on Blast. It covers every Raptors game after the game. And if you're at home, give it up for Sheldon Alexander.
Oh, I like that. You're doing a little.
Oh wow! Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I can get behind this. Okay.
How you doing, man? Thanks for
good.
Thanks for
I'm
coming
good.
on.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. I like the vibe so far.
Yeah,
I like
good.
I like the beat. I'm down
Nice,
with the beats.
nice.
I'm in. I like it.
Does the song fit you? Because some guests immediately request a song change.
No, see, I'm pretty easy music wise, so that works for me. Anything with a nice beat, I kind of two-step to easy. No
Okay,
problem.
cool. All right, yeah. Let's get to the next guest. I know him through the band PUP. Also know him through online basketball stuff. Give it up at home for Steve Sladkowski. Okay, a bit of more.
Kind of like, he's in the tour bus.
Sure, yeah.
That's very flattering. It's not not the truth.
Thinking of the next song kind of deal,
Now, is this song going to go anywhere or no? Is this it?
I feel like it drops eventually. It just keeps getting better.
One consistent vibe would
Yeah.
be very appropriate, though.
Yeah.
for me.
So, yeah, thanks for coming. Sorry, I was waiting for a drop.
I thought
No drop. Zero drop, actually. Again, very. Yeah, thanks for having me. Man.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. What was I about to say? I don't even remember what I was about to say.
It's fine.
Except, yeah, tour bus for me would be kind of cool.
Yeah, me too.
So for you, is it like a tour car?
It's been a van and trailer pretty consistently for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a trailer.
Yeah. 30
That's-
feet. What's more annoying to park, but still not comfortable?
Yeah, there you go.
That's kind of where we're at.
If I feel like you've made it somewhere, if you have to like think, really hard about how you're merging into lanes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you got a tail behind
Yeah.
you. My father-in-law's from South Carolina, and he's a big boat guy, and a couple times he's like asked me to bring the boat in the water, and I'm pretty terrified.
Yeah, it's
like I'm gonna really hurt some people, damage some wildlife.
You never think about like how you're like, I'm backed up straight, just like straight on so many times. And I'm thinking about it now. And you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I backing up straight? And then anytime you have to like turn, it's counterintuitive, right? Because you have to go out to go in, and it's not fun.
Are you the driver?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you have a driver.
No.
Okay.
We split it, but
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, let's get to some good stuff. Fun segment we always like to start with and see if Matt can surprise me a little bit and surprise you guys too.
Yeah, you never know. You never know, guys.
So Matt, tell us all something we don't know about Brad Lowhouse.
Brad Lowhouse.
So you already got me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who that is.
You guys don't.
No,
you guys
I got
don't recollect.
nothing. No,
I remember the name, but that's it.
Well, you probably don't remember him very well because he only played 6 games for
Okay.
the Raps in the 96-97 season. Here's something. Do you know that he's a broker now for commercial airplanes and airplane parts?
Okay, this is good stuff.
This is the whitest motherfucker. Like,
Right? Like, come on. He's a broker.
He is. He was also featured in the 1993 arcade version of NBA Jam.
wow.
Wow.
So, like, I guess
How?
Yeah, his graphic, like, slid in at the start of the game or something. Brad Lowhouse.
I wouldn't let people forget that.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be
So
on
that's,
my
that's something you got to
Yeah,
bring up.
right.
Is he one of the? Wait, so he was on NBA Jam? You said
NBA Jam, the arcade version. in
so, but he was
93.
one of the 2 players.
Featured.
What does featured mean? Like
You tell me.
you tell me, man. I don't know.
It was a rough year for the Raptors.
I hope it doesn't mean just like he played in the NBA at that time, so is in the game.
Yeah,
I
he's-
hope it's not that.
He's featured as like a celebration guy on the bench.
Yes.
The other thing I will say is he also sold a fly rod on eBay and then never delivered the goods. That's kind of followed him around.
This is the dirt I'm looking
Yeah.
for, dude.
Okay.
He's like, not exactly like Firefest scam, but
Yeah.
He's got a bad seller rating.
It's bad.
His seller rating is bad.
So if you see this guy in Kijiji,
Yeah.
Avoid.
avoid him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great pictures of rods. Guess what? He ain't got those rods at home.
Fair enough, Brad. What else you got on Brad? Anything?
Just that he now, builds residential and commercial homes in Iowa. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
Where in Iowa? Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah, we want to know where in Iowa. You know what I mean? Like a bit more specific, please.
He's
sir.
very successful.
Is my guy in Iowa City or what?
No, I don't think it was Iowa City.
Wow.
Iowa City sounds cool. Okay, let's talk some Raptors stuff. So Matt, why don't you give me that Raptors sting?
I mean, they're not an up and coming team. They're here. They're here. They're here. They're here. We the North.
I always love when people do the podcast for the first time because we just stare at each other during the musical interlude. But no, but people listen to this podcast, they want to know how the sausage is made, right?
Exactly.
Of course.
That's the main
Exactly.
reason. So yeah, the Raptors I feel like are I don't want to say at full health, but I'm starting to hear some rumors that Jonas is kind of making his way back, and obviously there's kind of bumps and bruises, and we're going to continue the whole load management thing. But yeah, Steve, I'll start with you. I think we're all wondering who's going to get cut out of the rotation or how the playoffs are going to work, sort of thing. But I feel like it's kind of fair to say that the biggest glut of guys would be in that kind of like that guard spot, the wing spot. And I feel like between McCaw, CJ Miles, Norm, and Delon, we're just not going to play 12 guys when in really, really competitive games. So who do you think I just kind of arbitrarily said 2 of those guys are going to get cut out of or fully benched, like DNP coach decision. Wait, that's not how you say that. DNP CD. Okay.
CD,
yeah. Yeah. So who would you say out of those 2 guys is going to get the axe from Nurse?
I mean, Pat McCaw has a ring, so you can't.
Yeah.
You can't bench a guy with a ring,
Right?
No. I don't know. I think I would still kind of leave it to Nick Nurse to continue kind of tinkering.
Right.
I think like there are going to be a lot of matchups where like the length of DeLon is still going to make sense.
Yeah.
Even when he comes out the other day and like fires a pass into the second row and like
Yeah, DeLon's got to be one of the funkiest Raptors as far as
and like especially like in a walk year, you feel like he's kind of playing himself out of some money a little bit. And maybe if you're his crew, you're like want him to have minutes and
Right.
him getting that like DNP CD out of nowhere a
Yeah.
couple of nights ago kind of is like, oh, that's a little weird.
Especially with the trade deadline coming up.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think CJ, CJ has to play because if you don't do anything,
I agree. That's interesting, but I feel like a lot of Raptors fans are kind of fully out on CJ.
But the thing is that like if let's say you don't take the second home run swing if you're Masai in terms of going for AD,
right,
or something, like a big trade deadline acquisition is CJ regressing back to, or progressing, I guess, at this point back to the mean. Like, you know, there what did he have, like 13, 15 kind of points per game for over like a 3 or 4 game stretch last week, a week and a half before. You know, it looked like he was starting to kind of shake out.
It was the whole CJ PJ.
Yeah, Danny Green. Shouts Danny Green. Yeah, who else did we have on that?
Norm was the other guy.
Norm has to play. Norm's going to play. I mean, Norm looks like the person that we all thought he was
a couple years ago. Yeah.
So for you, Pat McCaw, easy bench?
I think, you know, Pat McCaw is an interesting pickup. I don't know where he kind of fits in.
Yeah.
The shooting's not there. And the person like Delon, I guess you kind of trust him to make like a catch and shoot 3, maybe.
Yeah, I think his percentage is settled or somewhere around like 33, 34%, but he's not that far away from league average.
They've been camping him out in the corner a lot. And he's made a couple of nice passes and stuff, but I don't know where, like.
Yeah, it's a tough question with no direct answer. Where are you at on it?
It's tough because, like, when I think of those 4 guys, the way that I always like to look at it is I like what Delon and Norm bring to the table more, just because I feel like with this Raptors team, everyone can do multiple things, right? And I feel like Delon and Norm, even if the shot's not falling, they're at least playing solid defense. Whereas CJ Miles, to me, my biggest issue with CJ is if his shot's not falling, he's not really doing anything else on the floor.
He's Swiss cheese.
Right? Yeah, he's just kind of there.
Swiss cheese. I like
it. I like that. He's just kind of there, right? Whereas Delon and Norm, even if they're turning over the ball, I like that they come in the game, they bring energy.
Yeah.
They try to.
Norm has been bringing consistent energy now for like a month, it seems, right?
But, Norm's been great.
All right. Yeah. So I would lean more towards those 2 guys. And I think the Patrick McCaw addition was more so just, you know, someone with experience. They spent a lot of the beginning part of the season playing without either Kyle or Delon or Fred. Like, someone was always banged up. And then you'd have to turn to Lorenzo Brown. Yeah. Right? And so if you replace that...
R.I.P. Lorenzo Brown.
Yeah, you replace that, you know, break in case of emergency. And now that's Patrick McCaw. You're kind of in a better position there.
Upgrade.
But you don't really need him unless, you know, you're in dire straits like they were for a couple of those games early when everyone was really banged up. So, yeah, I would lean more towards Norm and Delon, but that's, you know, I mean, it's tough. And at the end of the day, you're talking about the very end of the bench, right? So it's like...
Yeah, it's pretty... I just feel like, you know, there was a chance in my mind that it was going to be more fluid throughout the roster, but with the development of Siakam, and I think OG is such an integral piece to the team that I can't see him getting benched.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Maybe, I don't know. He looks a little bit... It looks like he's having a sophomore year.
Yeah. I was wondering if there was a point where Norm maybe might have played himself ahead of OG a little bit here. I don't know.
I don't know that Norm has the defensive versatility that OG has, though.
And OG just offers such size, and I mean, I think there's a reason that, you know, half the podcasts I listen to, everyone's waiting for this super lineup of like which includes OG and Siakam and Kawhi all on the court at the same time. So,
but this is one of the things that I still am willing to kind of give Nick Nurse credit for, is like, I feel like one of the biggest changes in terms of like the Dwayne Casey Raptors to now is like, you knew what that starting lineup was going into the playoffs. Yeah. You knew that it was Serge and Jonas and Kyle and DeMar and OG, I guess, like, or depending on who would be there, right? It was OG last year, and there were 1,000 minutes of video where like the opposing team could sit down and be like, this is what the starting lineup is, and this is what the bench looks like. And it's like, even though the lineups have been like super fluid and kind of just like 17 different people have started, or whatever it is, like different lineups have been looked at. It's like Nick Nurse is keeping a lot of those cards super close.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's like it's like the load management of lineups. It's just like
it really
you know what I
is.
mean? Like
Is there a point where, like having, like I always say that I feel like Nurse has a mandate to be experimental with the roster. Like part of the reason he's there is he pitched himself on saying like, hey, I'm going to try things. We're going to be unpredictable in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe I'll just post this to you, Sheldon. Is there a point where that gets too far? Like, almost like the opposite of Casey, where Casey was kind of like predictability and all that comes with that, including, players having confidence, knowing their role, all that sort of thing.
I think the biggest part of Nick Nurse's success this year is his ability to put players in a position to succeed.
Right.
And maybe like the best example is how he used Serge and JV early in the year.
Yeah.
In terms of like, depending on the matchups, this is who I'm going to play.
Right.
And so if tonight it's not a Delon game, it's more of a CJ game or whatever, that's what that's where the minutes are going to be played.
Right.
And so in the playoffs, I'm always a big believer. You're only going like 8 deep, right? Like I don't think you need to go that much further in the playoffs.
Oh, I was a classic Raptors fan that sold myself on like, we're going to be the
bench,
first team with an 11-man rotation and we're going to surprise everyone in the playoffs. And then like, the first series against Washington, you're like, we need Fred.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of you find out who your 8 guys are that work the matchups however you want to play.
Right.
And then that's how you do it. What happens sometimes with Casey as like, it's just, this is how we play. This is what we do, regardless of if it works or not against this team. And you have versatile players, right? So if some guy's hot, ride that out, right? And you just kind of play it that way. I think that's been the key to Nick Nurse's success is trying all these different things, but also knowing that, hey, this matchup is better for Serge than it is for Monroe. So I'm going to extend Serge's minutes in this game, right?
And I think that like, even my question is probably based on the fact that, JV has been gone for such a long time that we haven't seen that fluidity at the center spot.
Yeah.
for like a month.
Yeah.
For like
It's been
over
a
a
while.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pretty nasty injury.
It was awful.
Was it against who was it?
Golden
against?
State.
Draymond
Draymond.
basically like smacked his thumb off.
Yeah.
Like,
Draymond.
okay, let's talk about Kyle Lowry a little bit. He's getting older. He can still do so many things. He's absolutely, he maybe is the best distributor he's ever been, arguably. But I think his shooting is super important to this team. And Sheldon, I'll start with you. As far as like Kyle being our second option, do you think that we're over relying on that, or do you think like I guess like should Nurse be building another second option, or is it kind of like we're going in with Kyle and we'll pivot?
I think it has to be Kyle Lowry. Like the way that the team is currently constituted, it has to be Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Just because, and I know his shooting's been up and down, but I've been more focused on when he's being aggressive as opposed to when he's not being aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. He took 10 threes.
Yeah.
Last game.
He looked awesome in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did.
definitely. And I think that's way more important of, the things I always like to point out with Kyle Lowry is he coming down and taking that like 3 in transition? That's when he's feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Or is he driving to the basket and trying to get to the free throw line? Those are the two things when you see Kyle Lowry, like he's in rhythm. You know that he's on that night. And just the way
passing up shots, Kyle Lowry is always
No.
like, no.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah.
You can't have that. And it has to be Kyle because I don't know how long this Surge run is going to last for, where Surge has been playing amazing this year.
I'm kind of waiting. I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm like waiting for, like, I don't want to trade him, but I'm like, I think I should.
Right.
Yeah.
But I kind of think the Surge thing would have already happened, right? Because there's no way in hell that you start Greg Monroe.
No.
So Surge has been starting at center for every game. And save for like his knee kind of flaring up for a couple of games there. Like if it were going to drop off, that's when you would expect his production to drop off. When he isn't able to take the first 8 minutes of the game off against Hassan Whiteside in Miami.
Right.
Or like against, that sort of an Andre Drummond type center. And it hasn't really happened. He's still he slumped as any kind of normal shooter would, but he's like still knocking down that little pocket pass.
Oh, he's money from that, like from the free throw.
It's crazy how he looks when he plays power forward. He looks washed, but then when he plays center, it's like, oh, the man can he can still ball.
Totally.
Like, you know, that's
And
like
it's gotta like it always like it always makes you think about you know, positions or sorry, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like opportunity in the NBA, because I remember when we signed him, in his opening thing, he said, "I am a center. Like, I want to play center." But then obviously Pirtle had a good season. JV's still a part of the team, and we kind of had to do that. Or I don't know if we had to do it. Maybe that's like, you know, a Casey criticism thing where he should have experimented more. But Pirtle was a guy who deserved minutes, and I think that Serge you look pretty rough at the power forward, to your point, Steve. But sorry.
Yeah, no, just in terms of, and if it's not Kyle, I don't know if I'm ready to fully trust Serge when we're talking like playoffs and everything's on the line. It's like we need a basket and it's not Kawhi, it's going to be Serge. I'm not ready to do that, and I don't think Pascal's ready.
Okay, that's where I was going. I was like, what if it's Pascal?
That's kind of where it hinges, right?
I don't know if he's ready.
He's ready against Phoenix.
Yeah, I know.
He's ready against
exactly.
Phoenix for sure. That's not saying very much, but like,
But he does seem like I'd be curious if you know, part of the long-term experiment, if Nurse just, you know, slips in a couple more plays made for Siakam to score, not just, you know, transition, like actually set up for Siakam to try and run something. Yeah, that's not just opportunistic. But yeah, I think that's kind of like my question answers itself pretty easily. We do need Kyle.
Kyle does so much for the team, and even if he's not being, and like him being aggressive with his shot just opens things up for everyone else as well. Like, you can't cheat off of Serge anymore, right? Like, so you mentioned the pocket passes that he hits Serge with right at the free throw line. That's money. It's in every time. The way that he looks for Siakam, same thing. And it just opens up Kyle, makes him so much more confident as well. And then you notice in the last game in Dallas, they ran a couple sets for Kyle where he's coming off the screens.
Yes.
They're getting him that open three look. Once he just gets a couple of those baskets a night, like those are the shots you need him to hit. It's not going to be ISO Kyle, step back, like tough shots. I feel like every once in a while you throw in a play for him.
Yeah, and he's also he's getting that like crafty old man game too. Like a little, I'm just like, oh my god,
he already had it.
Totally.
So now he's like extra crafty.
Like when in the like last 2 minutes of Luka Doncic tried to post him up, and he was like, "Oh no.
Yeah,
don't you understand, young man?
I know.
Do you know who I am?
I love it.
Like, it was so like, and just to have that back on a consistent, like, where it's like the guy is gonna curl off a screen and make that like going left 3-point. That's that Kyle Lowry shot where you're like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, and then come back down the floor and be like, oh, also, like, I don't care how big you are. I'm either going to take the charge or I'm going to make you so mad. Like, Doncic tried to post Kyle Lowry up, couldn't do anything, and then committed a frustration foul.
Yeah, a terrible foul too.
Like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that's like a really, like, if you think about it, it's like +5, right? If he's coming down and making a 3-point shot like that, and then coming down the floor and just being the absolute like Kyle Lowry bulldog. Yeah. It's like, this guy is a terror.
Yeah. Right.
He's an absolute terror.
So let me just do like a little follow up to that question. When you think about playing like the Celtics or the Bucks,
fuck the Celtics,
obviously. Rozier and Smart, they're big players. Yeah. And even Milwaukee, Kyle has really struggled against Brogdon and Bledsoe. I think particularly on defense, he's just getting.
And they have George Hill now.
Yeah, and he's getting blown by quite a bit. So I mean, is that just one of those things where this is who we got, and we shouldn't really be developing counters? Like, obviously you can't bench a guy like Kyle, but what do you do if we're in a series against Milwaukee and they're just going at him play after play?
I think you got to play him less. I think you got to play Kyle less minutes, which means you need more from Delon and Fred.
Right.
And I just think what that does is it keeps Kyle fresh. It keeps him, when Kyle struggles, I think he's playing a lot of minutes, and then he's trying to cheat on defense. Right.
Yeah.
Like LeBron, they talked about it a lot last year where LeBron's cheating on defense and he's like walking. He's not really helping on defense. And
he's saving it.
Yeah. And Kyle, when you start playing him extended minutes, he's going to try to save some energy for the offensive end to try to create those plays for whoever it is. And if you just play him less minutes, but you can only do that if you get something from Fred and Delon. If you can't get anything from Freddie, then you gotta just rely on Kyle, and then you're in trouble. I think that's the problem. Manage his minutes, keep his minutes down, so that when he's in the game, he's going all out.
The other thing too is like you've never had someone like Danny Green defending beside Kyle before.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah.
Right? Like
He's going to be so exciting in the playoffs.
DeMar DeRozan was defending that position last year.
Totally.
And I
For sure.
Totally true.
respect to DeMar, but like
No,
look
not
at
on
how
defense.
Danny Green Look at how Danny Green guarded
Danny
James
Green's-
Harden.
Yeah. Danny Green's awesome.
You just put it like Harden would take that first step and he would just put the shoulder in. He'd be like, go on. Try and get past me,
Yeah.
right? And it just aggravated James Harden just enough. It's like, yeah, he's still got 30.
Yeah.
But Danny
I
Green
thought we did a good job on James Harden.
it was
the role players hit shots.
That was Danny Green's job for the entire first half of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Just make James Harden's life a living hell.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, then one of those wing players, whoever is hot, maybe Kyle's guarding him, maybe Kawhi is guarding him, maybe Danny Green is guarding him, so that Kyle and Kawhi can kind of right. So those are going to be kind of your three primary looks in terms of like wing defending.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll go to war with that.
Or if we're playing the Bucks and they have Lopez at the 3, why don't you put Kyle on him? You know what I mean? Like just
He's trying to sit on the 3-point line and hit
like-
jumpers anyways.
Okay, I feel like we've buried the lead long enough. So Anthony Davis, we've all been waiting for it, has through Rich Paul requested. I don't know if requested a trade is correct, but he's let them know that he's not going to re-sign. He still has the rest of this year and a full like all of next year on contract.
Yeah.
So if you're to trade for Anthony Davis, you're getting him for a significant amount of time. The Raptors are, I guess every single team in the NBA is rumored to be putting a package for AD. Steve, let's start with you. If the Raptors, not who you want, who do you think that the Raptors brass will how does that conversation go? Is it like start with Siakam?
It starts with Siakam. It has to.
Right.
I don't know where.
For the Pelicans, it has to start there. I would assume.
You give Siakam, you give OG. You give Jonas?
Yeah, I guess that's where the salary matching comes in.
Like what? I don't know.
And Jonas is also good.
Yeah, Jonas. Oh, buddy. I'm in the JV hive.
Oh, nice.
I'm deep in the hive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what else you do.
Our picks aren't great.
Yeah,
So that-
and you don't like
you don't have
DeLon.
assets.
DeLon's a free agent after this year. Like you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. He's not interesting in a package like that.
Yeah.
Because you have Drew Holiday.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But honestly, if I'm Masai Ujiri, I slide the paper over and I say, everybody not named Kawhi, just pick what you want.
Yeah.
It's honestly that simple if I'm Masai. And the thing that I feel like, and it's funny watching the American coverage and the Canadian coverage of it, right? Because the Canadian coverage because the majority of the media in Canada works for the team.
Yeah.
So they overvalue a lot of the guys on the Raptors.
Oh,
right?
you can't trade Serge for AD. Sorry.
But I feel like talking to a lot of Raptors fans, I've heard way too much. I don't know if I'd give up Pascal. And it's like, wait a second. Like, that can't even be a conversation.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah, a lot of people are in love with Pascal. And I get it. He's really good. But we're talking about Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that's on the table, go.
You could have half a year of Kawhi and Anthony Davis. Who gives a shit who your point guard
Oh,
is?
yeah. We'd actually have the Monstars.
Yes.
Or two of them anyway. It's like,
well, that's the thing, right? Because the talk was, well, if you give up your whole team, who do you have left? I'm like, hey, if you have Kawhi, Anthony Davis, you still have Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, because there's
It doesn't
no
matter
way.
who the
and
rest
we
of the team
we
is.
just went through a bunch of guys who deserve minutes who would be left.
Exactly.
You know?
McCaw comes off your bench. CJ Miles comes off your bench. You'd still have one of JV or Surge.
Terrence Ross demands a trade back to Toronto. Who knows what happened?
Ross is coming back. Ross is going to come back. He's going to score 52. It's going to be nuts. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, and the other thing is like, if Kawhi walks, you fucking blow it up anyway.
Yeah.
I can swear on this podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You take her easy. Okay, Matt's getting excited.
Right? Like you don't then your core is OG. You then if Kawhi walks, you don't resign DeLon. He's 27 years old. There's no way.
Yeah.
And whatever. Like,
I know.
Here's the thing, like, what's the worst case scenario? Like, let's say worst case scenario, you have AD and Kawhi and you flame out in like the second round. I don't think that would happen, but I'm just saying worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Kawhi walks, you still have Anthony Davis for 1 year, and you can still trade Anthony Davis for whatever the Lakers package is, whatever Boston's package is. They're still going to offer you
and like
Tatum or, Ingram or Lonzo, and you take that package and okay, cool.
I even said that about Kawhi. Like if you, like when we first got him, if Masai got a strong indication that he was leaving 100%, if you gave the Knicks a call, and you said, do you think that you can keep Kawhi over the Clippers or the Lakers?
Yeah.
I bet you the Knicks are like, yeah, we're New York City. Of course we can keep Kawhi.
I mean, James Dolan probably hangs up the phone given the past relationship.
Oh, right, I forgot that. Like, there's a couple people that Masai's not allowed to talk to.
Oopsie-daisy.
Yeah. I guess that's probably true for like the Sacramento Kings. And,
Although if Willie calls, like, get my guy Willie in Toronto, man. Whew.
He's looking okay. I thought.
He's great.
Yeah.
Actually, that Sacramento game was really fun. I thought Bagley looked okay too. I've been hearing nonstop like how he doesn't fit in the league, and he's out of position, and he's not going to amount to anything. And I'm like, this guy,
he's a rookie.
He's good.
So.
He's a rookie.
He looks like he belongs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. I think Kawhi. I kind of think Kawhi maybe stays. They have to get to the finals.
Yeah, I've been in the camp of kind of like it was worth it regardless.
Yeah.
But I think I would say there's as many reasons for Kawhi to stay as there is for him to leave, and how those are weighted is gonna kind of like tell that story, because it's not even a 0-sum game necessarily. He could do a 1-1.
Yeah,
exactly.
He could stay for 1 year.
Yeah.
So, and then also, he's done it before, so I'm sure that he could do a 1-1, and then if the first 3 months don't go as he predicted, or let's say Masai's like, okay, if you hang out, for 1 more year, I'm going to get you another superstar, and he doesn't, then Kawhi could just demand a trade again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the part too that's gone so well this year is his relationship with the Raptors and how they're using him.
Yeah, I think so.
So as much as a joke that we make about load management, because that term just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's actually been really good to see Kawhi Leonard. I think it was a couple days ago. Was it in Houston? He had he talked on that game day, and it was a big presser where he just talked about how the Raptors seemed to get it in terms of he only played 7 games or whatever it was last year. He didn't really play 5-on-5 until training camp. So he doesn't want to go out there and just run his body into the ground. And so the Raptors have understood that. They gave him a week off last week, and it's no questions asked, no nothing.
Who gives a shit, right?
Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, like as
Him against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, right.
As a Raptors fan that have seen so many of, I've seen Lowry burn out in the playoffs. I've seen DeRozan obviously burn out in the playoffs. Yeah, the idea, I'm definitely not one of those fans that it's like, oh, the fans paid and, they deserve to watch the players. I'm like, well, for my team, I want Lowry to have a ton of rest. So if Phoenix isn't good enough to see Lowry, that's on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Atlanta's not good enough to see Kawhi, that's on them. Be a better team that we have to play our guys against.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I don't really feel sorry for you, and I want to go far in the playoffs, so I want all the guys healthy.
Yeah. I know it sucks for fans, and it was funny to even see, was it Brian Burke? Brian Burke was even commenting.
Brian Burke?
Yeah, exactly.
Was he? Oh, God.
Brian Burke was out here talking about how
Get out of here, Brian Burke.
It's unfair to the fans that pay their hard-earned money to come to games and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, cool, but talk to me in the conference finals. Right?
Exactly,
something that neither organization knows a lot about.
Fucking Don Cherry cosplay ass motherfucker.
Don Cherry cosplay. That's huge. Take that, Brian Burke. Cosplay son of a bitch.
It's just like we're talking real championships, right? Championships, aspirations. Like it's just be real.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like we got a lot of more AD stuff to get to. So let's move to the NBA at large. But before, Matt, the pressure's on for this one because
I'm gonna fail. I know it.
Yeah, well,
God
you
damn it.
better hit us with something good. Tell me something I don't know. Tell us all something we don't know about Kyle Lowry.
Why did I pick Kyle?
Buddy.
Did you know?
Okay.
He hasn't dunked since 2008.
Oh my God.
What about the All-Star game? He dunked in an All-Star
I'm talking
game.
about regular season when it matters.
We're talking about real
Okay,
basketball.
fair enough.
Okay, do whatever you want in the All-Star game. Wear a cape. I don't care.
I guess I didn't know that.
I didn't know this. Okay.
It's about me, okay? Buddy, you can't lower the bar.
I didn't know that. Okay, so when LeBron made the decision to leave Cleveland the first time, Kyle signed an offer sheet with the Cavs. Did you know that?
Oh, I don't remember this.
And he publicly ripped Dan Gilbert for how he reacted to LeBron, and then he signed an offer sheet with the Cavaliers.
Really?
And obviously, I guess Houston obviously matched it, right?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yes.
Oh, wait, so when he was playing for Houston, he
Yeah.
signed an offer sheet with the Cavs. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, you hit me with something I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got?
He's got his own juice called Fam Juice. You know that?
Fam juice?
Fam Juice.
Buddy, you got to lead with this shit. Fam juice?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That
he has
sounds
his own
gross.
juice company. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound gross.
Yeah.
That's super gross.
Fam juice. Okay,
juice.
what? Well, tell me some about fam juice. Or is that's all you got? It's fam
Well,
juice.
just that it's like it's juices and teas, and they're
Oh, I am teas.
the fruity variety.
So wait a second. Is his face like on the branding, or is he just like silent?
It's not like
partner?
Newman's Own.
Okay, yeah. Because if Kyle Lowry's face was on, I'm like drinking herbal tea now. That's just I'm an herbal tea guy now.
It's like, did Kyle Lowry become one of those like Instagram models?
Yeah, right.
Hey, man, he's got to get some dough.
And just the other thing, do you know about his shoe brand that he has in China called Peak?
Yes.
You know about that?
I'm sorry. Did you say chew brand, like tobacco chew?
No, shoe.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I thought he had a chew brand, and I'm like, oh shit, dude.
I would love to
that's
see that.
Lowry's
billboard.
lippers.
Yeah, Lowry's lippers.
my God.
He's just like getting sick on the bench. I puked in a Cineplex off one of those once when I was 15.
Wow.
Sucked, yeah. My buddy's like, try this. And I did. And it was so bad.
Which Cineplex?
Cineplex Odeon. Well, I guess there were all that at one point in Ajax, Ontario.
Ajax, Ontario.
Yeah. Where I later worked.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The only other thing I have, I feel like we've had a lot of guests on that give him a lot of flack about his weight and stuff. Everyone's starting to call him pudgy and all this.
Not me.
You know what?
Unbelievable.
You know what? You want to hear what his pregame? Do you know what his pregame breakfast is?
Oh, jeez.
I don't, but I want to know.
Gluten-free pancakes,
Okay.
fruit, turkey sausage and egg whites, avocado,
Wow.
and he's jacked and ready to go. He says.
And then he just basically pounds a bucket of chew.
Yeah. There's a couple,
Pukes it all up.
couple
Good to go.
spit sessions with the Lowry's lipper, and he's ready to go.
Did you guys see that Globe and Mail article about the
No.
the Raptors like practice facility chef?
No, but
haven't
I make my own hot sauce. So my buddy was telling me about this.
Oh, there you
makes,
go.
He
He does the whole. It's like it's a scratch kitchen, and they do everything like organic and
Okay.
like it's worth it, worth the read.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get the gluten free, the
Yeah.
whole thing. That makes sense because it's all probably done. From,
Yeah, I feel
from
like-
that kitchen in house.
Most players are like ridiculously healthy these days.
Yeah. How do you not? Like the Raptors are kind of lame too, even by like NBA standards. They don't really, very rarely do you see them on like Instagram. Mm-hmm. You know,
That is true.
like
Yeah, there was the Kawhi Drake.
Yeah.
Drake shot, which Danny Green said he got cut out of, which is amazing. But I want to see like Alex McKechnie in the mix. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, does he
like,
party or what? Like,
Danny Green's the only person I've seen like on Instagram this year being like, "You were at EFS? Were you? Were you really at the club?" Like, okay, Danny Green.
Yeah, there's not many guys. No.
Danny's busy, but he seems like he's having a wonderful season.
Oh yeah,
So it's like, hey, between podcasting, you're clearly like putting in the work.
yeah.
So
yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I love going out.
yeah,
I don't go to the club.
No, I know what you
but
mean though. A
yeah.
lot of guys seem a little low key for sure.
Yeah.
And like gym rats. Like they're
Yeah.
always just like in
Yeah.
the gym working out. And it's different when you go back like an era or two.
Patrick
and I'll say
Patterson.
like, Patrick Patterson. He was definitely in these streets for sure.
he was going in. Yeah,
T. Ross, we know, definitely in these streets.
Yeah.
And I always go back to, and this is a weird pull of a name,
Okay.
but I always go back to Sonny Weems. Sonny Weems and DeMar were
Sonny
like a-
Weems, Money Dreams.
Yeah.
right? They were a duo, and
Yeah.
Sonny Weems was out all the time. But at the same point, like DeMar was like getting really serious with his girl and kind of went like the other way. Like if we remember, DeMar's girl played ball at USC, right? So she was a serious like, she was on him, like get in the gym, workout, but like she was on him in that sense.
I have more game than you. Come on.
Sonny Weems was like, oh, I'm out with back spasms. I'm out for like 2 weeks. And it's like, get out of here, right?
Yeah.
But, like you're in the club.
I remember
it was interesting.
Sorry. I was gonna say I remember still hoping for Sonny Weems. I watched him do like a dunk off in Russia, and I'm like, he's got it. He's coming back. And I think he did come back to Phoenix.
Yes, he was
for a little bit. But yeah.
I was gonna say, actually, I can't say it. It's funny you mentioned that because I do remember in a group text, which I'm sure. It's funny now. Everyone has like multiple group texts with different friends, whatever. But the Raptors were playing the Suns last season, if I'm not mistaken. It had to be last season. And my buddy just puts a picture of a text conversation he was having with one of his exes, and she said, Sonny Weems just tried to pick me up on Tinder. That's all. I'm just going to leave that there.
He's still at it.
Just going to leave that there. And yeah.
So at home, if you're thinking about Sonny, just tip your hat and know that he's still doing his thing. Okay, let's move on to the NBA. Matt, would you give me that NBA sting?
Freddie, what does it stand for? National Basketball Association.
You waited for me to like utter one syllable, and I was gonna say nasketball. So you saved me a bit.
Basketball. I like it.
And just a shout out to Matt. He works really hard on these weird sound bites. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've cut out the first "get the garbage out of here" and just fast forward to when Jack fully lost his voice.
Yeah,
which is one of my Jack highlights. One time at halftime, Jack was removed because he lost his voice. And it was very, very good.
Didn't do his vocal warm ups.
He didn't do his vocal warm ups. He was just pounding whatever he pounds.
MGD.
Yeah. Cool. So let's. I feel like we should continue talking about AD because it's going to be the major narrative for at least a little while.
Yeah.
Can I throw in two reports so that you guys can keep in mind?
Okay,
what I read today.
Sure.
I'm in.
So one just about AD saying that he wanted to be traded. Also, he said now that I'm not going to resign with you unless you're the Lakers.
Whoa.
So
okay. That. All right.
So that's going to change everything for trades.
Yeah.
And the other report that Lonzo Ball's camp came out and said,
"Yeah,
I wanted to be in a three-way because
I don't want to play. I don't want to play in New Orleans.
Yeah, he wants to be starting.
I like that Lonzo feels like he's in position to call shots, and he's 2 steps ahead of the game.
You know what though? Good for his. Good for his camp for like.
Yeah,
shutting down Papa Bear.
That's true.
A couple years, like that was insufferable.
Yeah,
it was a good run though.
LeVar, right? His name's LeVar.
Never lost.
Yeah.
But like, wasn't it weird? As soon as LeBron got signed to the Lakers, LeVar went silent.
Yeah.
Until now. Yeah. Like that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could just go 100 to 0.
Right? I listened to a Genie Bus on Zach Lowe, and Zach Lowe's like, "So what have you done with LeVar?" And Genie was like, "Oh, what do you mean? He's like around, and he's like a good dad, and he's got other sons, and like she was basically offering anything but the truth,
nothing,
because like very clearly LeBron was like, I'm a much bigger celebrity than you, and I'll ruin you and your 3 children's careers if you do anything I don't like.
This is my team.
Yeah. But that definitely does change things. I was kind of waiting for that Laker hammer. I think a lot of people were waiting for the Laker hammer to drop. But
how is this not tampering? Can you please explain?
Well, here's the.
They've opened that actually.
Yeah, there's
the Pelicans have opened tampering thing.
Yeah.
But it's just a fine. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Steve?
There was a really funny tweet about the Pelicans like calling the cops on the Lakers. I can't remember the exact. Yeah, calling the police.
That's awesome.
Is this like did Rich Paul fuck up?
Yeah, you said that at the beginning of you said that before we started recording. Like I'm curious what your theory is. Like, did he overplay his hand?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I don't think so, because I feel like at the end of the day, come 2020, he's going to be on the Lakers.
Yeah.
So it's just he's trying to speed up the process it might not work. Like,
Right.
I think we're seeing a trend right now where teams and owners are getting frustrated with the players
Right.
using their power.
Right.
Right. So you've seen the pettiness come from
All sides,
who's Indiana's GM, Pritchard.
Yep.
When Paul George says, I want to go to the Lakers, he's like, well, screw you. I'm not sending you to the Lakers. You're going
Right.
to OKC. Right. Kawhi says, I want out, or we're told Kawhi wanted out.
Right.
And Pop's like, I'm not sending you where you want to go to. I'm sending you to Toronto.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to see the same thing here. And maybe Rich Paul got a whiff of that happening, and now he's trying to play the public game.
Get out in front.
Right.
Yeah, get out in front of it and try to put some pressure on them.
And AD is
to
a
say-
really likable figure.
Yeah.
So he's definitely not. I mean, I guess so are the other guys. So
But it's just a thing where, he's going to come out and take the hits for it. It's not Kawhi or Uncle Dennis or Paul George or whatever. It's Rich Paul saying all this
Right.
stuff, right? And he's taking the hits, not really Anthony Davis. And he tried to frame it as, well, I'm just trying to let the team know ahead of
I have the best interest of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
client.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that leads into the question I wanted to ask pretty well, just because. So yeah, he has played his hand. Both Rich Paul and AD. And we have some fresh examples like Kawhi, like Jimmy Butler, like Paul George, guys who've kind of demanded to go to a specific place, and they've gotten the like Jimmy McNulty treatment, where it's like, oh, where do you want to go? Okay, cool. That's the only place I'm not going to send you, or that's the main place you're not going to go. Pardon me. And with Paul George, we've seen it be like a massive, I want to say like surprise and upset win for a franchise in Oklahoma City to straight up like clown LA like that.
Yeah.
Like Paul George didn't even take a meeting, and it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to go to LA.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Anthony Davis is even a bigger, he's a bigger star, probably has more sway, but, I'll start with you, Steve. If you're the Pelicans, knowing the type of leverage you have, what's like your strategy here?
I'm looking at the arena in Seattle.
Yeah, you're already relocating. I know.
No.
It does suck that they have an owner who's like, I like the New Orleans Saints, and I don't care that much about the Pelicans. It's like, that's
man.
not great for your franchise.
I don't know. What am I doing if I'm the Pelicans? This is it's crazy because
Like, do you care about where AD wants to go or where AD's going to resign? Or are you just like, I want the best assets, period?
I think you have to want the best assets.
Right?
But and I think this was something that was said on the low post with Windhorst and Howard Beck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a bad place to go watch basketball. Like I was in New Orleans. A handful of years ago, and I didn't end up going to the game, but it was before like Paul Millsap had signed with the Nuggets.
Okay.
So the Hawks, like Budenholzer was still coaching the Hawks.
Okay.
They were good. And I could have walked up and gotten a seat like in the lower bowl for like $40.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a football town. It's always kind of been a football town.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bummer because, like, first of all, my God, those jerseys are so good.
Have you seen their mascot?
And the mascot, Pierre?
Pierre's
so good.
You can't talk about the Pelicans mascot without also talking about King Cake Baby.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Their
Also true.
secondary mascot.
Here's the thing, is that also
a scary baby?
is that also the Smoothie King?
I hope so. I hope the smooth. No, actually, you know what? I looked into this once, and Smoothie King is a Chinese-owned business.
It's different.
But I did wish that was the Smoothie
Yeah,
King.
right.
And that's the only way you could get a smoothie was from this baby.
But like I don't know what do you do? You can't. There aren't enough people in the stands to sell the value of getting being like somehow we have a chance to get Zion.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I guess here's where I stand. Like if I'm from the Pelicans, and I'll just drop this and go to you, Sheldon. But you've had Chris Paul, you've had Anthony Davis, you've had generational talents that you've drafted, and it's blown up in your face in the worst possible way.
I think I saw something that's like two playoff series
Right.
wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at what point do you start to look at guys that are already on contract and that you might have a bit more control over, that might be ascending, you know what I mean? And just trade Anthony Davis to I don't know, some team that's desperate to make the playoffs or make some kind of statement, and not play into the Lakers or the Celtics' hands and let them strong arm you in this negotiation. Like, the Spurs have done it. Obviously, the Thunder did it, and in Indiana and the Bulls as well, right? So yeah, where are you at? Where are you at? If you're in the Pelicans, war room.
The Pelicans,
where are you at right now?
If I'm a Pelicans fan, and I don't know how many of those people exist.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but
you're devastated.
You're mad at the organization because it's the organization's fault, right? Yeah. And you can't even really get mad at Anthony Davis because you mentioned Chris Paul and Anthony Davis. That means, and they've had the same GM the entire time, and you failed to build teams around both of those guys, right? You lucked out in getting Anthony Davis by winning the lottery that year when you really weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
You get Anthony Davis. You finally get someone around him in terms of Boogie Cousins. And I know Boogie gets hurt, and that's terrible, and that's bad.
Yeah.
But if you re-signed Boogie Cousins, I highly doubt that Anthony Davis a year later or less than a year later is now going to be requesting a trade. The bond that those guys seem to have, for whatever reason, they seem to like playing with each other. And I know that you probably didn't want to throw a bunch of money at Boogie because he's coming off an Achilles, and I get all that. But if he has a bond with your star player that you're trying to keep, you might want to keep Boogie Cousins around.
Especially when you bring in Elfrid Payton.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to Elfrid Payton, but like...
I just don't understand why you... sorry.
No, that was it. It just sort of...
I don't understand why you make such a big deal of trading for Boogie. And then, obviously he gets this devastating injury. People are looking at Elton Brand, like, oh, this guy's not going to be able to come back. And I put myself in the camp of people who are really surprised with how well he looks.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
And how quickly. But, I guess the science has improved. And, maybe he was more of an athlete than Elton Brand.
And maybe too the Warriors training staff is getting a lot of credit too for the job that they've done. Whereas the flip side, people crush New Orleans' training staff, right? They're saying, which I didn't even know this was a thing, but supposedly New Orleans shares their training staff with the football team.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that as well.
Like, how is that a thing for an
terrible.
NBA team? Like, you're just talking about the Raptors facilities and how great that is. They got a chef and making everything from scratch and that's like something that as a player, you look at that and you say, this is a legitimate organization that cares about their players.
Longevity.
Yeah, right? Like there's some actual like care put into this. Whereas, oh, okay, I can't see the trainer today because he's worried about Drew Brees or whatever, right? Like it just it's messed up. And I think overall as an organization, they have to be better. And they're not. They haven't been.
I don't feel sorry for the Pelicans or anything like that, but I'm just kind of wondering if they're looking at picks as why. Why am I gonna overvalue this pick when I know that even if I get Zion, he's on his way out because I can't build a team.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
At what point do you start, trying to follow the Utah model or looking at other teams and being
the
like
Raptors model
or the Raptors model? Exactly.
Right? Like I know this Kawhi thing makes it kind of weird, but if you go back and look at how the Raptors were built, it's not with the superstar. Like I know DeMar and Kyle made the All-Star game multiple years in a row, but that's more based off the strength of the team.
And it took a trade.
For sure.
You had to open up those minutes for them.
For sure. Yeah. But it's like built off the strength of the team more so than like having this superstar talent that you sign in free agency or whatever, right? And you got to build your team that way if you're New Orleans or if you're whoever, right? And you have Anthony Davis. It can't be that hard to build a team around
agree.
Anthony
No,
Davis.
I mean, like, even if you look at the Bucks with what they've done with Giannis, I mean, New Orleans could have done that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And it's pretty bleak for them. Again, I don't really feel too sorry for them because that is the NBA. But
you fire the general manager.
Yeah.
You don't trust him to make the trade.
Exactly.
This is
I think he's going to be petty.
I think this is kind of the way forward. As ugly as that might be, I think if it's like all of a sudden the GM got fired, I think things could go in a bunch of different directions. And I think if you're the Pelicans, you might want that. You might want like, hey, we don't trust this guy at the helm.
Yeah.
He's failed a bunch of times. So let's bring in someone new. And if that guy wants picks, okay, fair enough. Because we're trusting a new person.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it now and do you wait until the offseason to get whatever the offer is from Boston, which you hope would be Tatum, and do you take that, or are you taking what the Lakers have on the table? Either way, I think you got to do what's in the best interest of the team, which I don't think they're going to do, because that might be the Lakers trade.
Right.
Right. Like that might be the best offer you're going to get in terms of getting, Lonzo, Ingram, or Kuzma. Right. And it's like, that might be the best deal that you can get, but they're so focused on, well, we don't want to give LeBron his way. We don't want to seem like we're getting bullied.
Rich Paul.
Yeah. And then you're not going to do that trade. Like that just seems weird to me.
But here's my question though. Do you obviously the calculus is going to change if he's saying like, I'm only going to resign with the Lakers, but let's say you're Portland and you're like, we don't care. We want Lillard and AD together for one playoff run.
Yeah.
Because we think that could win a championship. If you're the Pelicans and you have the choice between McCollum or Ball, do you really choose Ball?
No.
Or Ingram or Kuzma?
You probably get Yusuf Nurkic too.
That's
right?
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like starting with McCollum, and then obviously, because I think if you're trading Anthony Davis, you can basically, like you said, you slide the Raptors paper over.
Yeah.
So if you can do that with
whatever,
I don't know, half the teams in the NBA, the ones that aren't tanking and the ones that aren't, already about to win a championship, contenders
can match the salary too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can also match the salary. I don't know if I'm Utah or Portland or
the Raptors
I'm taking a big swing.
I'm really on this Masai, like
going for it.
Yeah, because I just feel like there's not that many teams that are in the position that the Raptors are in.
I totally agree.
In the sense that you're already right there in terms of we're going all in for this season. You're able to give up the youth. You're set up in a way with the cap that, again, if Kawhi leaves, cool, you can still trade him in the offseason. Like it's just set up perfectly for you, and you play into the pettiness of exactly what happened with the Spurs, where Popovich is like, I'm not sending you where you want to go. I'm going to send you to Toronto because I want DeRozan, who's established, as opposed to getting picks.
Right.
And that you almost end up in the same situation where if you look at it now, they would have been way better served to trade Kawhi to the Lakers and take Ingram, Ball, like whatever the deal was from the Lakers. I'd much rather have that than DeMar DeRozan and Pirtle. That's me.
Yeah,
that's me.
Because we gave them DeRozan, Pirtle, and a pick.
Yeah. For Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. Like, I much rather would have taken whatever the Lakers.
That still makes me shake my head.
the Danny, because okay. Like,
you're right though. You're right.
I was one of those people that I would always dismiss that Kawhi stuff because I was just like, we don't have like they don't want DeRozan or Lowry for Kawhi. That was my main thing. And also I thought that if that trade did happen, then they'd at least be like, well, then you're also taking Pau Gasol and you're also taking blank who we don't want. I didn't think they'd be like, oh, we think Danny Green will help you win a championship. So he'll come too.
Well, but like take the two surliest people on the team, right? That was kind of the thing, is like cut the cancer out, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that is true, and I think we've seen that a lot with Danny. He hasn't been like Kawhi with the big standoff, but Danny's had his fair share of slights against the Spurs this year already.
Medical staff,
medical staff
stuff. It was all medical staff stuff, right?
Yeah,
same. The two of them.
Yeah. So just with kind of looking through the lens of AD, I'm curious what you guys think are good, B plots. I'll just like float a couple. So we still have the Conley and Gasol getting floated around. Obviously, they got trumped by the AD news. Brian Windhorst on that Low podcast was talking about how the long-term goal is that Kyrie's going to LA to join AD.
There was another thing today saying he was open to reuniting with LeBron.
Right.
There was like another thing that broke today.
And then I also find what's interesting from like a Raptors perspective and Portland and all these other teams that aren't the constant kind of like talk of the NBA is okay, so if New Orleans is trading AD, they probably want to trade Mirotic, Holiday, Randall. Yeah. I'm sure they want to trade Randall. Solomon Hill. But like you know what I mean? Should the Raptors be like, okay, we're ready to go at Mirotic as soon as AD goes, type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think there could be a lot of like opportunism in this.
For sure.
Lowry for Holiday. Who knows?
For sure. The B plot, honestly, that I'm most interested in, though, is
it doesn't have to be like related.
But it's just like LeBron really being the commissioner of the NBA. Like LeBron is really running
He really,
the entire thing, and it's kind of scary. And there's two sides of it, because on one hand, it's like, the Raptor fan, you're like, screw you, LeBron, you ended our runs how many years in a row? But on the flip side, you kind of take a step back and you're like, it's pretty cool how he's completely flipped the power structure in pro sports.
Yeah.
Right? Like showing that, he can have this personality where he's coming out and speaking on, whatever, it's social issues or politics or whatever, but then also just saying, no, you're Anthony Davis. You can force your way out a year early out of your contract and like navigate where you want to go. Or you're Kevin Durant. You can say, you know what? I'm going to join 3 other superstars because I need to win a title. Like he's changed so much, and to watch how he's like done this without caring. Like the dinner that he had with Anthony Davis, like you're stanky rich. Okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have dinner with Anthony Davis, you could have done it anywhere in LA. You could have done it at your house. You could have rented out a floor in one of the hotel rooms. You could have done anything. Instead, you're going to go to a restaurant where everyone's going to see you, where everyone's going to report it, and it's going to turn into a story. But he just doesn't care because he can do whatever he wants, and he knows it.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. That's the craziest thing that I've enjoyed watching.
And how about the fact that he, and I'm kind of like pilfering Jeannie Buss a little bit, but with LeBron, being side by side with Magic all the time, it's kind of like two moguls, like one mogul's teaching, tricks to the new mogul, right? And
definitely,
I feel like that's pretty cool. And Steve, we'll jump on if there's a B plot you like, but I kind of wanted to see how you guys feel about the whole kind of like player empowerment thing. So I'm pretty one note in that I basically just unabashedly love it. I like that players are gaining some agency, and I think it's such a double standard that people can be mad at. Not necessarily like, I feel like it's okay to have issues with Jimmy Butler's behavior, but the core of what he was doing and trying to force a trade, I think why someone would judge that harsher than what Ainge did to Isaiah Thomas, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Or even what we did to DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
So I think
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin is Blake Griffin is the best example of that too, because he re-signed to Max, got the whole, kit and caboodle, like big show.
Retire.
Yeah,
Retire as a Clipper.
And didn't they even say like you're going to be this like iconic figure? They put him next to like social heroes and that sort of stuff, and then to send him to Detroit of all places. So for me, I just think it's such a, again, if you disagree, that's totally cool. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think. And Steve, maybe I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I'm a member of a trade union, so I'm like super pro labor.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're not gonna get much respect for ownership from me.
You know what? There's like, are you with us too?
Yeah, no.
If you're
I'm
not, it's okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm 1,000% on the same side.
Because if you guys go online,
love to agree.
I don't think we're the majority necessarily. That might be changing, but
because people just think of it from the fan perspective.
Yeah.
Of, this is our team, so how does it affect our team?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we the DeMar thing was the most interesting aspect to me, was the fan reaction. And everyone's kind of like, oh no, but he actually liked us. And it was just funny to see that perspective.
It brought in all the Canadian insecurity into like one little nugget.
Leafs, this is just residual like emotional trauma from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's all this is.
They've passed it on.
It's just like,
Matt's a hardcore Leafs fan. He knows what's up.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
But it's just a matter of like watching what these guys are able to do. Even if you go back to LeBron and Wade and Bosh deciding years before, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get together, go to Miami, whatever. Like, it's just a power structure. And you understand that in life, in all of our lives, we all have the same ability. It's do you have enough power to do it? And if we all did, we would.
Totally.
Right?
Also, like, don't forget, the players are the poor ones.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Oh man, that was my main note during any kind of bargaining agreement. People were like, the players. I'm like, the other side's billionaires, right?
Yeah, it's millionaires.
They're all billionaires.
First of all, the whole argument makes me want to blow my brains out.
Yeah.
Because look at us here, just fucking normal guys who are never ever going to be whatever.
Yeah.
That notwithstanding, this is still the underdog you're rooting for. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in a big way too.
Yeah.
Even consolidating an opinion of over 400 people versus 30 ownerships is difficult.
Yeah.
when you talk about like trying to bust a union and that sort of thing, getting 30 people on the same page is profoundly easier than getting 40 people. Like over 400 people with wildly different contracts on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, there's not a lot of...
it's just the power structure and the narrative of it all in terms of the players having the power and, well, more so understanding the power that they have, right? Because it was always there. It just takes one person to kind of show you... show the way, for lack of a better term. And I think it's so incredible. And like, I guess because I work in the media, I pay attention to this side of it more, but I love what LeBron's done with like his media company and said, I don't need to give interviews to ESPN. I can when I want to. So I'll sit down with Rachel Nichols once a year.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I got my own show.
Yeah. I'm going to make my own show and I'm going to sit down. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. The only interesting thing I'm ever going to say to the media is going to be on my own show. Right. So I get all the hits. I get all the clicks on the website, him talking about being the GOAT, his stuff about Trump. Like it's all on his own platforms. And that's just using his power to benefit him as opposed to some other.
And the whole league. It doesn't just benefit.
I think it benefits the league too.
He's laying out a platform and a path for, obviously, not every basketball player, but for people who are savvy and who are interesting and who have the talent and to kind of have that longevity. It's like, you can do this too.
Yeah. And I mean, like there's a contract aspect of it, but I also think that, as much as, obviously he's like a ridiculous character, LeVar Ball, to me anyways, I don't know if anyone had done this before him, but he brought in the idea of cutting out the middleman in the shoe companies. And I think that could have a profound effect going forward. Well, what if a player is just like, hey, I have my own factory. I'm going to make my own shoes. I'll distribute them through Shopify or whatever. And I don't need Nike. And I'm not going to get like pushed around. Or what about a guy like Jennings, who's like, I'm going to go play in Italy, make a bunch of money, then come to the NBA. Or Moutier, who I think went to China.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I think that sometimes when there's change or there's messiness, it freaks people out.
Yeah.
So on top of trading and all these different, mechanisms or different situations that can happen in the NBA, now on top of that, you also have players making big choices that are going to, change the NBA.
All for it. And the other weird thing, although I always remember this from when the collective bargaining stuff was going on, but I think it was a Bill Simmons article, and he used the example of for owners, he said owning a sports team is like a sports car. Like it's not really it's not a fun business thing for them. It's not like they're making money off of the owning the basketball team. Now they might make money off the property if they own the arena and they own like the businesses around it and all that. Cool. They might make money off that. But in terms of just owning a team, like that's not their business venture. That's like them just ripping up money. Totally. That's something they do for status, something they do for fun, to sit courtside and get to meet LeBron, right? Like whatever. And you think of it in that sense, and then you're like, well, why can't LeBron, why is LeBron only capped at making whatever, $30 million a year?
Exactly.
Right?
I think this is a really good conversation.
Pro labor, baby.
Pro labor. But still with Steve, do you have a B plot? It doesn't have to be Pelicans or AD
I want to watch
related.
the Boston Celtics implode.
Okay.
The demise of Danny Ainge, I'm here for. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I see. I do too, but I was telling you guys before the podcast, like my Boston hate, it's getting into real...
We've got to tone it down.
Yeah. Well, I
bullshit.
feel like I'm getting less and less objective. And I floated this to you guys, and I feel like, I got the reaction I was actually looking for, which is like, fair enough, but maybe you could tone it down. And I was saying that I think Siakam's going to have a better career than Tatum. But can I just give you a quick pitch
I'm
for why I think that's a possibility?
I'm listening.
Okay. So beyond Tatum looking at the wrong role models in Kobe Bryant and taking bad shots, he's a really good defender. And I think that he's super young. Obviously, the idea is sky's the limit. So here's what I think. I think he's more raw than people give him credit for. Okay. I don't think he has the shot creation, outside of like a highly kind of system thing that Brad Stevens has going on, or the natural kind of like opportunism that you see in Siakam. I also think Siakam is a better defender, better passer, and a more unique player. And I think that Yeah. Okay. You know what? So
You're basically calling this guy Gordon Hayward. You were basically saying
Tatum?
that Jason Tatum is going to be Gordon Hayward.
I think he kind of is Gordon Hayward with much better defense.
Gordon Hayward leaves Quinn Snyder's system and all of a sudden looks normal.
Again, yeah. So talk some sense into me, okay?
I feel like
Tatum, I need this.
I think Tatum is really good. I think he will be really good. And the difference between him and Siakam, like my angle on Siakam is way different than a lot of other people. And I admit that. And it's making me think like maybe I'm wrong in just how I'm seeing it.
No, I think I need this.
No. And I'm saying like I'm in the minority when I talk to people about Siakam and what I think of his game. I think his game, it's all effort. It's all hustle. It's all like, he runs the floor. That's how he gets the majority of his points. He's not the guy where it's like what we deem superstar in this era. Give him the ball. Can he make a play? Whatever, where I think that is Tatum. Like I think Tatum can evolve to being the best player on a championship contending team. I don't know if Siakam can do that.
Okay.
That's how I view it. Anyways.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I feel like right now I'd rather have Tatum. And I just think it's because watching kind of what the Celtics did, like there were spurts last year, especially in that series against the Cavs. And in that game 7, I remember the Celtics weren't getting anything. And then Tatum himself went on like this 6-0 run on his own. Remember, there's a highlight. He went at LeBron.
He dunked on LeBron,
and then kind of like mean mugged him after, and then caught himself. Like, oh no, what am I doing?
He's like, I love you.
But like,
I'm sorry.
you see flashes of that, and it's like, whoa, okay. So you see it there, but you don't get to fully see the game because I don't know how well it fits with Kyrie or fits with the rest of their team that they have. Whereas what Siakam does fits perfectly with Kyle feeding him the ball, him running the floor, him being an energy guy. Like I want to say he's
less skill based,
but he's
fair?
I don't want to call him an energy guy because that seems like a level of disrespect. Siakam, like I don't want to call Siakam.
Yeah, because I think for me the on court awareness is what's really blown me away with Siakam this year.
I think the thing with Siakam is that maybe his upside is like some sort of weirdo Giannis.
Ooh.
I think that's kind of the thing.
That's scary,
is like because he's
a Sean
got
Marion.
Yeah, he's
type
got
of
the
thing.
height. He's in that like upper kind of 6 foot region, so he can kind of play a modern NBA center.
Yeah,
he can create his own shot, sort of.
Point Siakam. We
just like coming off like he can handle better than Giannis can. I think.
Interesting.
I think coming downhill.
Yeah, well, I would say Giannis.
Yeah, maybe
Giannis.
not. Maybe
I would say maybe in like
I might be giving it
maybe dribbling through pylons.
Yeah,
but I think like handles always a weird thing because it's like there's like the Kyrie Steph Curry handles, but then I also feel like there's the LeBron handles which are a little less flashy but more.
Well, yeah, and
or Kawhi.
Kawhi, yeah,
Kawhi's a good example of like
Great
he
example.
doesn't really do extra stuff.
Yeah.
He kind of just does what is necessary.
Yeah, he's a bully.
And I think Giannis is of that category too, where we're like, oh, is he going to like dribble the ball off his foot? No, he just dunked over 3 guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but I think there's like, and Siakam's shooting the 3 better than Giannis already does. Mm-hmm. That's not saying much, but it's like, maybe he has those sort of like freakish athletic tendencies within him where like he's still skinny.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like he can put on some weight.
Yeah.
yeah, I think the thing that I'm just intoxicated by Siakam, and I feel like that's where the probably the totally unnecessary comparison with Tatum comes in.
But and it's
my Boston hate and it's my Siakam love.
And his game is more infectious, right? Because you watch him and he doesn't stop on the court. Like he seems to always be
Like, how's he
just
down the
everywhere.
floor already?
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's all over the place, which is a different kind of game. Whereas Tatum right now is still in a position where he needs a ball in his hands to affect the game. Where Siakam is like running the floor. He's going to get the ball on the glass.
Yeah.
Like, where Tatum, it's like, okay, give me the ball. Now watch me score. Where Siakam's just like doing a bit of everything.
And there, a couple of those losses, I mean, we talk about Kyle being the kind of second option, but like a couple of the losses that the Raptors have suffered kind of in the last little while is because Siakam has been shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And it's like, so
he's going to have to respond to like how
that-
the league adjusts.
But it also proves that teams are taking him seriously because he already has that
Like
in him to kind of turn a game.
Yeah.
Like against the Warriors did not plan for him. in Oakland, and he roasted them.
Yeah.
Right. And like
was
he
so
has,
good.
but he has that like
The last Bucks game too. I remember the same thing. He had a monster game.
Yeah.
The last time against the Bucks, same thing.
he has like a very casual 25 and 12 in him
Yeah.
with like 2 or 3 made 3-pointers.
Also, full disclosure, I was at the Utah game where Kawhi and Siakam look like Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah.
Like they both had career highs and they were just like taking turns dominating Utah. And I was like, no one can stop Siakam.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like
Boston, your Boston hate though is summed up to me. Like it's totally fine because every once in a while, you know what it is? Every once in a while, something just happens, and you're like, "This is why everyone doesn't like you." And the last thing,
I thought you were gonna say about me.
no.
Okay, I'm ready to hear this. I'm ready to hear it.
It was Boston. It was Danny Ainge. It
Yeah,
was
the Ainge thing.
the
Yeah,
Ainge
yeah.
thing with LeBron. It was just so like LeBron said he was a GOAT, and obviously they're getting quotes from every single person about, "Oh, what do you think about LeBron?" Saying he's a GOAT.
I maybe missed this. What did Ainge say?
Danny Ainge out of the blue is just like, well, you know, LeBron, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, LeBron talks a lot. He says a lot of stuff to the media. It's almost like Donald Trump in terms of saying things all the time just to be a part
that's
of the narrative.
Like, why do we think
And it's
Rich
like,
Paul really
why
announced?
would you? And it's like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Like, how would you? Like, why would you call LeBron Donald Trump? Like, I know that's not what you literally said, but like, why would you put that in the same sentence?
That's a totally uncool amount of disrespect.
Yes,
Like,
right?
especially for someone like LeBron.
Yes, and it's like, what are you doing, Danny Ainge? But he's Danny Ainge, and he has a false like perception of himself and his importance and his value, and that's just
Self-important Boston sports teams? Come on.
I always say I always say they shouldn't have vetoed the Chris Paul trade. They should have vetoed the Brooklyn Boston trade. Should never be able to trade that many picks. Come on. Okay, let's move on to some quickish questions. But before we do that, Matt, tell us all something we don't know about Lonnie Baxter.
Lonnie Baxter. He played for the Raps in 2003, 2004 season. During that season, he played for 3 teams. The Raptors were one of them. He actually played 36 games, and that's the second highest total he's played for a team. 36. He played the most for Chicago. I think it's close to 65 or so.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say,
You saved him for last, so I feel like, and I see a smirk happening. So
he got in a little bit of trouble back in 2006. Did you know that he was a couple blocks away from the White House and started firing a gun into the air?
Oh my God.
that is awesome. Okay, but I mean, sorry, it's not awesome, but
The craziest thing you could do.
Right on.
Yeah. So a couple blocks away from the White House. He also got in a little trouble for shipping guns via FedEx.
Okay, sensing a theme here.
Okay.
But there's a bit of a Kawhi connection. Right?
A Kawhi connection?
Yeah. This is a
San
very
Diego State?
no, he lives in Maryland now.
Okay.
Okay. And this is a very new
You
job.
shipped the guns
This
to
is
Kawhi.
no. The new job that he got.
Mm-hmm.
He is a sales consultant at a Kia dealership.
Okay.
That's the Kawhi. 'Cause
Wait.
Kawhi buys Kias.
Does Kawhi buy Kia?
Yeah.
My guy.
He drives a Kia.
I thought he drove like a Chevy or something.
He drove a Kia.
I drove a Kia Soul once to Woodstock, New York. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Great car, handles well.
Yeah. And
Fair
through
enough.
through
Peppy.
the Raptors organization, he's able to call Lonnie Baxter and ask him.
For a new Kia every once in a while?
Or just it's new specs and whatnot.
Okay, bit of a loose connection.
Like it would perk up if Kawhi was listening to this podcast. He'd just lean forward off of his lounger. And
Oh yeah. No, Kawhi listens to every episode, so I'm sure we'll get an email.
That's
from
why
him.
I'm here. Was that not clear?
Or Uncle Dennis, one of the other.
Yeah, because you want a connection.
I
to
need
Kia,
Kawhi to
or-
hear,
Oh,
Yes.
that's fair.
us.
Well, I mean, Lonnie, if you're listening, we're Kia fans too. We're also gun fans. So ship us some stuff.
And if you're
in a Kia, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can, there's lots of places in the States where you can shoot a gun in the air and no one will care, but the White House is not one of them.
That's why he did it, though.
Yeah.
You know?
So George Bush years, right? He's protesting, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, you did well with Lonnie Baxter. Thanks, man. That was pretty weird. Okay, good. let's move to the quickish questions. So why don't you give me the quickish questions sting?
Quickish Questions!
This is Adam Silver.
Let's do it.
Don't stare at me when the tugboat sound happens. And why Adam Silver gets
Not expecting that. That was great.
Why he gets the tugboat
Yeah, that
sound?
was out of nowhere.
We'll never know. Okay, so this is quickish questions. I'm gonna be as clear as possible.
Okay.
It's rarely gonna be actually clear, but I'm gonna hit you up with
Sounds good.
with
Okay.
some fan questions, and you can't phone a friend. You just gotta answer as quick as possible.
Okay.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. It's totally cool. I'll start with you, Sheldon. We'll make our way around the table.
You've recently keep saying you can't phone a friend. That's like a new thing. You're
Hey,
saying. Who
don't
would ever
call me out,
phone
man.
a friend?
No, because sometimes people like the
Can we pause so I can phone a friend?
who wants to be a millionaire. They think out loud. They're like,
thinking-
True.
oh well.
You do hear the music. Here it is.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, man. Oh, okay. Matt's really going at me. Okay.
All right.
All right. Sheldon's come from James. If AD can't come to the Raps, what is your preferred destination for him?
Lakers.
Okay.
Oh, you know.
Steve, it's come from Roger. Rodney Hood, a boring pickup, but a helpful one? Question mark.
Nah, he's shit for the locker room.
Okay. Matt, a follow-up question to Rodney Hood.
Okay.
What's the most you'd give up for Rodney Hood?
For Rodney Hood, I'd probably give up a bench player on the 905.
Ouch.
Oh, Malachi. See you, Malachi.
Ouch, Rodney Hood. Cheers. Okay, Sheldon's come from Jonathan. How many bidets does Kawhi's new home have?
I'm going to say 4.
Okay, nice. I'd say maybe like a really big one. You know what I mean?
bidet in the half bath. I like it.
Okay, yeah. All right, Steve's come from Jess. Word is, according to Sportsnet, Raps are preparing a this might be a little bit.
Quickish Questions!
Honestly, I deserve that. I'm gonna read the question anyways, even though it might be a bit repetitive. But word is, according to Sportsnet, Raps are preparing to offer trade for AD, as I'm sure the whole damn league is. Who would you give up?
Yeah, it's got to be Pascal, OG, Jonas.
Like whatever they want.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
Give him anything.
Cool. So sorry, that was a bit weird asking a question that I've already.
That was an
I've
hour
already
ago,
done.
man.
Yeah.
It's not quick questions. It's quick-ish.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. This is coming from Adam.
Hi, Adam.
What would be worse? AD goes to Boston or AD goes to Golden State?
Oof. You know what? To Boston for us right now.
Correct answer.
Yeah.
All right, Sheldon, come from James.
Okay.
If you were a GM, are you hard enough to make the big trade, or are you softy who would let sentiment influence your decisions?
No, I'd be hard like Masai, man. Make
Okay.
the cutthroat
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah.
Needed to be made.
I thought when it started with "Are you a hard GM?" I thought it was going a different place. But okay. I was like, all right. I really should pre-read this a bit more. Steve's come from Tom. Which potential conference finals matchup excites you the most, and why?
Toronto, Boston.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it.
We've been robbed of that.
Yeah, we've never seen a Toronto Boston playoff series.
Correct. Not that the answer is correct or incorrect, but I like saying correct. Okay. Matt, come from Tom.
Okay, hi,
Which NBA plot line are you burnt out on?
Okay, like we didn't talk about it today, but Kawhi buying the new house, is he leaving? Is he going? Just let's win the championship and have the parade, people.
Okay. So you don't care about Kawhi's houses.
No, yeah, I'm sick of hearing about his house.
All right, fair enough. You seem like you
I
got
agree.
sad at the end there. Okay, Sheldon. It's come from Tyler. I'm pretty sure we already got rid of Malachi. Oh no, wait, we still have Malachi.
We got
He's still
Malachi.
there. He's
We
on
still have.
905.
Okay, sorry. Why not trade Malachi for Carter if Carter is cool with joining the Raps? Vince Carter. I'm
Vince
assuming.
Carter.
Yeah.
No. I'm over Vince Carter. I've been over Vince
Yeah.
Carter. No, Vince
Yeah.
Carter coming to Toronto just takes some shine away from more relevant storylines, like trying to win.
I agree. Okay.
True.
Last question. Steve's come from Jonathan. What surprise team can throw themselves into this AD saga so that we're not all trapped in another BS Lakers Celtics narrative?
The Sixers.
The Sixers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it for the questions. And
Perfect.
that's it for the pod. Thanks for doing it,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate
It was
it.
awesome.
Steve, I'll start with you. You got anything coming up? You doing any shows that people can check out?
We have a new record coming out on April 5th. And then we're going to be on tour all over the place for most of this year.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where can people find Pup's music?
Puptheband.com. Any of your regular kind of streaming and video sites.
Cool.
All that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And yeah, Sheldon, you got the ball on blast, but is
Yeah.
anything people
there's
should check out?
A lot going on. I produced Tim and Sid, so work on that. That's on Sportsnet.
Every damn
5
day.
to 6:30 weekdays. Yeah. Then on the side, we do some fun basketball talk. We do the Wrap It Up podcast, which is live on Twitter after each and every Raptor game, just at Sheldon Alexander. And Ball on Blast podcast is just a once a week, full on basketball talk, just all basketball all the time.
Cool,
So yeah,
man.
all over the place, basketball talk.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, guys, thanks for doing the pod. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
And thanks for everyone who listens. And what all the other, savvy podcast people say, help us out.
give us a rating.
review and shit.
iTunes.
Yeah, all that stuff, man. I'm so poor. Cool. Thanks for listening to the pod, and see you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.